My name is Alice Carruth. I'm the Public Relations Coordinator for the New Mexico Spaceport Authority. So space is not a new concept in New Mexico. We've actually been exploring with space and technology here in the States since the 1930s when Goddard first came down and was testing rockets in Roswell. And then at Wisma, White Sands Missile Range, they've been launching rockets since the 1940s. In fact, they're classed as the birthplace of space in the whole of the US. On top of that, NASA has had a presence here in southern New Mexico since the 1960s. They have the White Sands Test Facility and the White Sands Complex. And so space is something that we're familiar with. In the 1990s, they decided to explore the idea of commercial space in New Mexico and whether or not it was viable. So they established an office that was an agency that was dedicated to commercial space in New Mexico. And from that, the New Mexico Spaceport Authority was born back in 2006. And that's when we started work here in southern New Mexico. Spaceport America is open and ready for business. We are launching. That's the one question I get a lot. Are you working and are you operating? Absolutely, yes, we have. We have launched over 300 rockets from the spaceport since it started in 2006. So science, technology, engineering and mathematics is something that's very undervalued, we find, most throughout America. But it's the core skills in those kind of courses that are really important for future generations, whether it's critical thinking, evaluation, whether it's about balancing the books, which is very important when it comes to project management. And we need to make sure that the future workforce is ready to continue the operations at Spaceport America. We've established this here now for the last 14 years. We have over 200 full-time employees through our customers, plus the staff that operate and manage the facility here. So we need to make sure that the future generations are coming through have got the skill set ready to come in and take over that operation and continue Spaceport America's journey as it continues. So I want to get youth excited about space. I think by the age of about 4th grade, most people know whether or not they're interested in science and want to continue it as a career option. So to get younger students excited about space and enthusiastic and to understand that you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work in space is a really important lesson that we need to establish with the youth, particularly in the border area. We've got some great schools here that offer some great aerospace program, hospitality programming, computer science programming at UTEP, at UNM, at NMSU, and we need to make sure that those kids are excited about the idea of working in space as a future career option and that it's a viable option for them. I think the G-Force simulator is probably the most exciting part of the tour for most students when they come in here. It's not going to be quite the same as getting on a spaceship and actually traveling to space, but it gives you an idea of what the astronauts go through when they train. Majority of the NASA astronauts trained on a machine very similar to this. The future astronauts and the pilots for Virgin Galactica train in the skies above us. There's constantly planes out here making sure that their G-Force training is up to speed, so that's always a good fun element for them to see. We host everything from drones, rockets to spaceships out here at Spaceport America. I think our most important event that we host every year is actually a STEM event called the Spaceport America Cup. We have 150 teams that compete from around the globe that come here. It's the world's largest college rocketry contest that's held, and they all launch rockets to 10,000 and 30,000 feet and compete for that grand prize of being the Spaceport America Cup winner. It's a great event to come out and see, so you can have an idea of what goes on with rocketry. It's also a great opportunity for students to meet future recruiters. So we have Blue Origin that sponsors the event, Virgin Galactica, Raytheon, amongst other really big names in commercial space. So it's a really good opportunity to come out and see what Spaceport America is about, but also to see the future of what's going to happen with the space industry. So we've got a lot going on at Spaceport America. COVID-19 has slowed down progress here, unfortunately. I think it affects everybody in every industry. But Virgin Galactica has just recently announced that they're going to be doing a powered flight as their next test in the next couple of months, which is the next step. That's the first flight from here with their Spaceship 2 to space. After that, they'll have one more test flight with their cabin to make sure that everything is working the way it should be, and then Richard Branson will be flying from here in early next year. Up Aerospace is also going to be launching with NASA's Flight Opportunity Program early next year. Our other tenants on the north side of the campus, HAPS Mobile and Air Environment, they're testing the Sun Glider. they're going to be taking the Sunglider unmanned aerial vehicle up to the stratosphere in their next test, which is a really exciting development. They're developing something called a high altitude platform station, which gives connectivity from about 75,000 feet above the ground, which is a really cool thing. Space is one of those frontiers that we need to be looking into. There's so much that gets tested up on the ISS at the moment that's then used down here. Everything from the cell phone that's on the palm of your hand has been developed, the technology in space. So what we're doing here is exciting people about space. We're making space more accessible. We've only had 570 plus people that have ever made it to space since the 1960s. Virgin Galactica have already sold tickets to 600 people. They're going to double that amount of people that have visited space in a very short space of time. Spin Launcher, another tenant down on the south side, are looking at how we can take away the first stage necessity when it comes to rocket launches. So we need to make sure that students understand that this is a very exciting thing. This is going to make it more accessible, and hopefully future space flight will be something that's a norm for most students. Be enthusiastic. It's really important to like what you're doing, and I think that goes across every career option. Understand what you're looking at, look at the companies, learn about them, what they're trying to do, what their operational values are, but really play around, experiment. I think it's something we all do. I'm a parent myself, and I'm constantly telling my kids to stop playing around, but actually experimenting is really important with STEM values. So even if you're using a plastic bottle with some baking soda and vinegar and making your own makeshift rockets at home, I think that's really important for you to understand the very basics. Even with myself, I'm a public relations coordinator, but I've had to understand the basics of rocketry so that I can work in this career. So even if you just have a very basic understanding, be enthusiastic about it and enjoy learning about space. We're working on a lot of things. We have 4 full-time customers out here at the moment. We have multiple other customers that come out and test. We're hoping to see Boeing come back and do some more testing at Spaceport and White Sands Missile Range. Their future Starliner capsule was tested here with a high-altitude ballooning that was released from about 70,000 feet and then eventually went over to White Sands Missile Range and land, which is really exciting to see. Spin Launch, as I say, will hopefully start their testing next year. They're going to be using the world's largest evacuated centrifuge. It's 106 feet across, it's massive. So that's going to be a very exciting thing to see when that gets launched out to space, and that will make it a far more accessible and cheaper version of sending satellites to space, for example. And Virgin Galactica again just released really great, interesting information about how they're looking at future space flight from point to point. So you'll be able to take off at Spaceport America and land at a spaceport across the other side of the globe, making your journey much faster going via space than having to go through it at 35 to 50,000 feet altitude.